Charlotte Evans stood outside the Obsidian Room, checking her reflection in the glass window. She looked expensive, thanks to a dress borrowed from her sister and a lot of confidence, but her bank account told a different story. $42.15. That was it. That was all she had until her unemployment check cleared next week. She looked at her dating app one last time. Profile, Mike, 28. Look for the guy in the navy suit at the corner table. Okay. Charlotte took a deep breath. Just order a water with lemon, maybe a side salad. If he pays, great. If not, you fake a stomachache before the appetizers. She pushed through the revolving doors. The restaurant smelled of truffles and money. She scanned the room. There, at the best corner table, sat a man in a navy suit. He was stunning, much better than his photos. Dark hair, slightly messy in a deliberate way, broad shoulders, and he was reading a financial report on a tablet with intense focus. Charlotte walked over, her heels clicking on the marble. "Mike?" she asked, putting on her best smile. The man looked up. His eyes were a piercing steel grey. He blinked, looking slightly confused for a fraction of a second. Then he looked her up and down. A flicker of interest sparked in his gaze. He started, then closed his tablet. "Yes, you must be Charlotte." She extended her hand. "Sorry I'm late. The subway was a nightmare." "The subway," the man repeated, as if it were a foreign concept. He took her hand. His grip was warm. "Firm? Please sit down." He didn't correct her. Alex Whitmore, CEO of Whitmore Global, was actually waiting for a high-stakes investor named Michael, but looking at the beautiful, nervous woman in front of him, he decided the investor could wait. Charlotte sat down and opened the menu. Her eyes widened. Appetizers, $35. Entrees, $65 minimum. She swallowed hard. "So," the man, Alex, said, leaning back, "tell me, Charlotte, what brings you to a place like this? You don't seem comfortable." "I'm fine," she lied quickly. I usually prefer places with, prices on the menu that don't look like car payments." Alex chuckled. It was a rich, deep sound. "Fair point. But I've had a long week. I'm in the mood to splurge. I hope you are too." Before she could answer, the waiter appeared. "Good evening, Sir," the waiter stammered, clearly recognizing Alex, but Alex silenced him with a sharp look and a raised finger. "We'll start with the Grand Seafood Tower," Alex said, casually. "And a bottle of the Dom Perignon 08. Oh, and the Wagyu tasting menu for two." Charlotte's heart stopped. She did the math instantly. That was easily a $1,000 order. "Wait," Charlotte squeaked. Alex looked at her. "Is there a problem? Don't you like Wagyu?" "I love Wagyu," Charlotte said, her voice trembling. "But, Mike, we just met. This is a lot." "I'm celebrating," Alex shrugged. "My company had a good quarter." "Your company?" Charlotte frowned. "Your profile said you were a junior analyst." Alex didn't miss a beat. "I got promoted. Look, relax. Let's just enjoy the food." The food came. The wine flowed. Alex was charming, intelligent, and asked her real questions about her life. For an hour, Charlotte forgot about the money. She told him about her passion for branding, how she had lost her job unfairly, how difficult the job market was. "You have a good eye for detail," Alex noted, watching her analyze the restaurant's logo on the napkin. "Most people wouldn't. Notice the kerning on the font." "Bad design costs money," Charlotte said passionately. "It makes a brand look cheap, even if the steak costs $100. Alex smiled. He was genuinely impressed. Then the bill came. The waiter placed the black leather folder in the center of the table. Charlotte stared at it like it was a bomb. "So," Alex said, watching her carefully. He wanted to see what she would do. He was used to women who expected him to pay for everything without a thank you. He wanted to see character. "How do you want to handle this?" He didn't reach for his wallet immediately. It was a test. Charlotte felt the blood drain from her face. She looked at the bill, 450 zanks. Half of that was 725s. She had $42. Panic took over. The room started to spin. She looked at this handsome man who she thought was a junior analyst named Mike. Charlotte's breath hitched. She couldn't breathe. The shame was overwhelming. Suddenly she burst into tears. "I can't," she cried, pushing her chair back. Heads turned at the nearby tables. "Charlotte?" Alex looked concerned now. The test had gone too far. "I can't afford this date," she sobbed to the stranger, tears streaming down her face. "I have $42 in my bank account, Mike. I'm unemployed. I thought we were getting burgers. I can't split $1,000 dinner. I can't. She grabbed her purse, shaking. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have come. You'll have to, I don't know, report me to the police. She turned and ran toward the exit, blinded by tears weaving through the tables. Charlotte, wait. Alex stood up, throwing a black Amex card onto the table without looking. Put it on the card. Keep the change. He ran after her. Charlotte was pushing through the revolving doors, stepping out into the cold rain, crying. She felt a hand on her arm. Charlotte, stop. She spun around. Look, I'm sorry. I'll pay you back. I'll write you an IOU. Just please don't yell at me. Alex looked at her. He wasn't angry. He looked guilty and determined. I'm not going to yell at you, Alex said gently. And you don't owe me anything. But the bill, I paid it. You paid it? Charlotte sniffled. But you're a junior analyst. That's like a week's salary. Alex sighed. He stepped closer, shielding her from the rain with his jacket. I have a confession to make, he said softly. My name isn't Mike. She thought he was a broke analyst, but he just dropped a black card. Who is he? Really? Tell us in the comments, what's the most awkward money moment you've ever had on a date? And stick around because Charlotte is about to realize she just confessed her bankruptcy to the one man who can hire her, rating 0-10 at the end. Your name isn't Mike? Charlotte stepped back into the rain, the water soaking her borrowed dress instantly. Who are you? A con artist? Did you steal that card? No. Alex stepped closer, ignoring the rain soaking his expensive shirt. I'm not a con artist. I was waiting for a business meeting. You sat at my table. You looked so nervous. I didn't have the heart to correct you. You let me order Wagyu, Charlotte shouted, hysterical. You let me embarrass myself. I told you about my debt. I told you I sell my clothes to pay rent. You must be laughing your head off. I'm not laughing, Alex said intensely. I was listening. You said my company's branding was generic corporate beige. You said the logo looked like it was designed in paint. Charlotte froze. She had said that. She had critiqued Whitmore Global while thinking he was just a junior analyst. Oh, God, she whispered. I insulted your company too. You were right. Alex smiled, a genuine, dazzling smile. It is generic. Look, Charlotte, let me drive you home. My car is right there. He pointed to a sleek black town car waiting at the curb. A driver was holding the door open. No, Charlotte backed away. I can't. I have an interview tomorrow morning. A big one. If I get in that car, I'm just the charity case who couldn't pay for dinner. I need to make it on my own. Charlotte, thank you for the dinner, not Mike, she said, her voice shaking. And thank you for not calling the police. Goodbye. She turned and ran toward the subway entrance, disappearing into the underground before Alex could stop her. Alex stood in the rain, watching her go. He looked at the black Amex card in his hand. Driver, Alex said, getting into the car. Call HR. I want to know who is interviewing for the marketing team tomorrow morning. The next morning, Charlotte Evans stood in front of the glass monolith that was Whitmore Global Tower. She looked tired. Her eyes were puffy from crying half the night, and her interview suit was slightly wrinkled because she couldn't afford dry cleaning, but she had brushed her hair, put on her armor, and was ready to fight. This was it, the senior brand manager position. It paid $90,000 a year. It was salvation. You can do this, she whispered to herself in the elevator reflection. You are competent, you are talented, and you will never ever eat Wagyu beef again. She reached the 40th floor. The reception was sleek, intimidating, and very beige, just like she had said. Charlotte Evans? The receptionist asked. Mr. Sterling is ready for you. Charlotte walked into the corner office. Brad Sterling was sitting behind a glass desk, scrolling on his phone. He didn't look up when she entered. He was young, handsome, in a slimy way, and wearing a suit that was too shiny. Sit, Brad said, finally dropping the phone. He picked up her resume, holding it by the corner as if it were contaminated. Charlotte Evans, Brad read, leaning back. Gap in employment, 6 months, State University degree, and your last role was at a vineyard? I managed the entire rebranding for Napa Vines, Charlotte said, sitting straight. I increased their direct-to-consumer sales by 40% in 1 year. Wine is easy, Brad scoffed. This is tech, sweetheart. Whitmore Global isn't selling grape juice to suburban moms. We sell enterprise solutions. He tossed her resume onto the desk. Honestly, I don't know why HR sent this up. We're looking for pedigree, Ivy League, tech experience, someone who looks the part. He looked her up and down, his gaze lingering on her scuffed heels. You look like you're desperate for a paycheck, not a career. The humiliation burned hotter than the dinner check. It was the villain archetype in full force. I'm desperate for an opportunity to prove my value, Charlotte said, fighting to keep her voice steady. If you look at my portfolio on page 2... I don't need to look at page 2, Brad interrupted. I have a stack of resumes from Harvard grads who don't have 6-month gaps. You're risky, and frankly, your vibe is a little low budget for our image. He stood up, signaling the interview was over. It had lasted 3 minutes. Thanks for coming in. We'll keep your resume on file. In the trash can. Brad smirked. Charlotte stood up. She felt small, worthless. The dinner last night, the rejection today. Maybe she really was a failure. Thank you for your time, she whispered, grabbing her bag. She turned to the door. The door opened before she could reach it. Actually, Brad, a deep voice boomed from the hallway. I'd like to see page 2. Charlotte froze. She knew that voice. Brad froze. He knew that voice even better. Alex Whitmore walked in. He wasn't wearing the casual suit from the restaurant. He was wearing a power suit, charcoal grey, tailored to perfection. He didn't look like a date. He looked like the owner of the building. He walked past Charlotte, giving her a quick, unreadable glance, and stood in front of Brad's desk. Mr. Whitmore. Brad scrambled to straighten his tie. Sir, I didn't know you were sitting in on interviews today. This is just a preliminary screen. She's not a candidate. I was just dismissing her. Dismissing her? Alex picked up Charlotte's resume from the desk where Brad had tossed it. Why? She lacks the pedigree, sir. State school. No tech background. And frankly, Brad lowered his voice confidentially, she doesn't fit the Whitmore aesthetic. The Whitmore aesthetic, Alex repeated. He turned slowly to face Charlotte. Charlotte wanted the floor to swallow her whole. It was him, not Mike, the man who had seen her cry over $42, the man she had lectured about his own logo, and now he was her potential boss. Miss Evans, Alex said formally, it's good to see you again. Brad's jaw dropped. You know her, sir. We met last night, Alex said, his eyes locking onto Charlotte's. We had a very informative dinner discussion about branding. Oh, Brad laughed nervously, sweat beading on his forehead. Well, if she's a friend of yours, sir, that changes everything. I can certainly take a second look. I didn't realize... She's not a friend, Brad, Alex cut him off coldly. She's a critic, and unlike you, she actually had something intelligent to say about our company identity. Alex looked at the resume. Brad says you're low budget, Miss Evans. Is that true? Charlotte looked at Alex. She saw the challenge in his eyes. He wasn't saving her out of pity. He was giving her the floor. He was testing her competence. See, she took a deep breath. She remembered the bill. She remembered the logo on the napkin. My budget is low, Mr. Whitmore, Charlotte said, her voice gaining strength. But my standards are high. Unlike your current branding strategy, which relies on safe, pedigree choices that cost millions but say nothing. You're losing market share to startups because you look like a dinosaur. Brad here thinks tech means cold and expensive. I think it should mean human and accessible. Brad gasped. Excuse me? You can't speak to the CEO like that. Alex silenced Brad with a hand. He was smiling, the same ghost of a smile from the wine cellar. Go on, Alex said. Your logo is outdated, your voice is passive, and if you hire people like Brad who judge value by the price tag of the suit, you'll never connect with the customers who actually use your product. Charlotte stopped. She had probably just talked herself out of a job, but it felt good. Alex stared at her for a long moment. Then he turned to Brad. She's right, Alex said. Sir? Brad squeaked. She's right about the logo. She's right about the market share. And she's definitely right about you. Alex walked to the door and held it open. Come with me, Miss Evans. Brad isn't qualified to interview you. Where are we going? Charlotte asked, stunned. To my office, Alex said. I have a branding crisis, and apparently I just found the only person brave enough to tell me the truth to my face. Plus, he leaned in as she passed him, whispering so only she could hear, You still owe me for the Wagyu. The Whitmore Global Annual Gala was held at the Metropolitan Museum of Art. It was a sea of black ties, diamonds, and judgment. Charlotte Evans arrived alone. She had taken Alex's advice. She wore a dress that wasn't just expensive. It was a weapon, emerald green silk that clung to her curves and trailed on the floor, backless, daring. Her hair was swept up, revealing diamond earrings, rented, but who knew? She looked like a queen, but inside, she was shaking. You belong here, she whispered to herself. You are competent. You are the senior brand strategist. She walked into the Temple of Dendur Hall. Heads turned, whispers started. Is that the new girl? The one from the Slack thread? She looks confident. Brad Sterling was holding court near the bar, holding a scotch. When he saw her, he nearly dropped his glass. He had expected her to cower, to hide. Instead, she walked past him without even blinking, heading straight for the stage preparation area. Enjoy your drink, Brad, she murmured as she passed. You'll need it. The presentations began at 9 p.m. Alex Whitmore took the stage first. He looked regal in his tuxedo, commanding the room. He gave a brief opening speech, welcoming the investors, but his eyes kept drifting to the side of the stage where Charlotte stood. And now, Alex announced, our VP of Sales, Brad Sterling, will walk us through the Q2 results. Brad bounded onto the stage. He was sweating. He launched into a PowerPoint presentation that was full of buzzwords, complex graphs, and excuses. While the market has been sluggish, Brad stammered, pointing to a graph that was clearly trending down, we are confident that our traditional sales channels will rebound. We just need to stay the course, stick to what we know. The board members looked bored. The investors checked their phones. It was a disaster of mediocrity. Thank you, Brad finished weakly. There was polite, scattered applause. And finally, Alex returned to the mic, I'd like to introduce our new senior brand strategist, Charlotte Evans, to present the vision for the future. Brad smirked as he walked off stage, whispering to Charlotte, good luck, honey. Try not to trip. Charlotte walked onto the stage. She didn't use the podium. She didn't use notes. She clicked the remote and the massive screen behind her went black. Then a single word appeared in bold, white text. Truth. For 10 years, Charlotte began, her voice clear and resonant, filling the vast hall. Whitmore Global has been selling a lie. We told you we were innovative, but we were safe. We told you we were premium, but we were just expensive. The room went silent. The board members sat up. Alex watched her from the wings, a look of pure pride on his face. Our competitors aren't beating us on price, Charlotte continued, pacing the stage with the grace of a panther. They are beating us on connection. They are telling stories. We are selling spreadsheets. She clicked the remote. The screen exploded with color. Her new campaign. It was vibrant, human, emotional. It showed real people using the technology, not stock photos of men in suits. This is the new Whitmore, Charlotte said. It's not perfect. It's human. It's messy. And it works. In the beta test we ran last week, engagement went up 300%. Pre-orders for Q3 are already double the Q2 projections. A gasp went through the crowd. Double. We don't need to stay the course, as Brad suggested. Charlotte looked directly at Brad in the front row. We need to burn the map and build a new road. Thank you. For a second, there was silence. Then, the room erupted. It wasn't polite applause. It was a roar. The investors were standing. The board chairman was clapping enthusiastically. Charlotte exhaled. She had done it. The after-party was a blur of congratulations. People who had ignored her an hour ago were now handing her their business cards. Miss Evans! Brilliant presentation! Charlotte, we must do lunch. Charlotte smiled, shook hands and played the game. But her eyes scanned the room for only one person. She found him on the terrace overlooking Central Park. Alex was leaning against the stone railing, loosening his tie. He looked at her as she approached, his gaze intense. You stole the show, Alex said. I told the truth, Charlotte replied, standing next to him. The night air was cool on her bare skin, but she felt hot. You destroyed him, Alex chuckled. I saw Brad's face. He looked like he swallowed a lemon. He's irrelevant now, Charlotte said, echoing her promise. The board loves the new direction. You can fire him for the numbers. I already did, Alex said casually. Charlotte blinked. What? I fired him 5 minutes ago. Backstage. Security escorted him out the side door. I told him his pedigree wasn't needed anymore. Charlotte laughed. A free, happy laugh. Did he cry? He threatened to sue. I gave him a severance package and told him to buy a better personality. Alex turned to her. Completely. He blocked out the party, the city, the noise. Charlotte, he said, his voice dropping to that intimate register from the office nights. You were amazing tonight. Competent, fierce, beautiful. It was the dress, she joked weakly. It wasn't the dress, it was you. Alex took a step closer. I've been trying to keep this professional, I really have, because I'm the CEO and you're my employee and the optics are terrible. Brad started the rumors anyway. Charlotte whispered. Exactly. Alex reached out, his hand cupping her cheek. If they're going to talk, let's give them something real to talk about. Real? I don't want to be your boss right now, Alex murmured, his thumb stroking her jawline. I want to be the guy from the restaurant. The guy who owes you a second date, a real one, where I pick you up, open the door, and actually look at the menu prices. Charlotte smiled, her heart hammering. I think I can afford that. Good. He leaned down. The kiss was inevitable. It was electric. It tasted of champagne and victory. It was the culmination of every late night, every shared burger, every moment of trust. When they pulled apart, Charlotte rested her head on his chest. She felt safe. She felt seen. Does this mean I get a raise? She mumbled into his jacket. Don't push your luck, Alex laughed, hugging her tighter. 6 months later, the scene opened on a bustling Saturday morning market. Charlotte and Alex were walking hand in hand. They were wearing jeans and t-shirts, normal people clothes. They looked happy, relaxed. I'm just saying, Charlotte argued playfully, that the font on the artisanal honey jar is terrible. It's unreadable. You can't rebrand the whole world, Char, Alex teased, buying a bag of apples. Watch me. They stopped at a small food truck. The sign said, Mike's Burgers. Alex laughed. Destiny. 2 cheeseburgers, please, Alex ordered. And fries. He reached for his wallet. But Charlotte was faster. She slapped her black card on the counter. I got this, she said with a wink. You sure? Alex grinned. It might be expensive. I can afford it, Charlotte beamed. I have a very good job and a very high-maintenance boyfriend. Alex kissed her temple. The best job and the luckiest boyfriend. As they walked away, eating burgers in the sun, the camera panned out. No fancy restaurants, no Wagyu, just 2 people who found value in each other, not in the price tag. And that is how a disaster date turned into a happily ever after. Now I have a question for you. If you were Charlotte, would you have forgiven Brad if he begged for his job back? Or is some behavior unforgivable? Let us know in the comments below. And finally, on a scale from 0 to 10, how satisfied were you when Charlotte destroyed Brad on stage? Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. We have a new story coming tomorrow about a woman who discovers her husband's secret family. You won't want to miss it. See you next time.